Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, yesterday was the first day of the 2021-2022 NFL playoffs, and in this first day, we had three quarterbacks starting their first playoff game for the very first time, and a quarterback who was returning for a second time. The returning quarterback was Josh Allen. The three that are starting for the first time was Joe Burrow, Derek Carr, and Mac Jones. Now, in the playoffs yesterday, the best game to watch was the Bengals taking on the Raiders, as the Bengals won 26-19 and they move on to the second round. But the crazier game to watch was the Bills annihilating the Patriots 47-17. Why is this a crazier game? Well, the score, their Bills won by 30. But the craziest part about this game was Josh Allen went near perfect, only in completing 4 passes. He threw more touchdowns, which is 5, more touchdowns than he had incompletions of 4. He went 21 for 25, 84% completion, 5 touchdowns, 308 passing yards, 366 total yards, and he threw more yards than the entire Patriots had total yards. This game was just a clear butt whooping, and the Patriots got some serious taste of their own medicine from the past 19-20 years when they had Tom Brady in the playoffs, and now teams are now finally paying them back for what Tom Brady did to them on the Patriots. But he's still doing the same thing on the Buccaneers. Now, another crazy thing about the Bills game is that they did not have one negative play. Not one negative play. And every single time that they got the ball, they scored a touchdown every single time. It would be 49, but the only reason that it is 47 is because the kicker missed the PAT twice. That's why it was 47-17. Now, with this domination of the Bills over the Patriots, now, how much scarier are the Bills are actually being looked at right now? Are they the team to go to the Super Bowl right now? Because they also have crazy revenge on their mind, because I guarantee they have huge revenge from last year after the Chiefs beating them in the AFC Championship. So do they have that redemption in their mindset to go all the way? Because we're going to see as they go through the playoffs to see how far they can truly go after their dominant win over the Patriots. Now, speaking of domination, last night we had the Boston Bruins taking on the Nashville Predators in a fast and furious game. And toughness was the definition of this game, as both teams were beating each other to the bone with a combined 91 hits in this game. Now, Boston came out with a tough, strong victory, a tough, strong 4-3 victory, and in this game, we had defenses getting offenses out of the rhythm. We had penalties being killed, and we had goalies making insane plays. And this game went all the way down to the wire into overtime, with Taylor Hall making the game-winning goal with 2 minutes left on the clock, having a shorthanded goal on the ground to get the victory 4-3. Now, with Boston's dominance, they are one of 6 teams to only lose once in January, and the other teams are the Avalanche, the Kings, the Wild, the Jet, and the Panthers. Now, it's crazy with what these 6 teams have done so far since the new year began, but even though this is really impressive, but the asterisk to these 6 teams only losing once is a couple of the teams have had games postponed, so they're only playing like 3 to 4 games, while the rest of the teams are playing the entire month and have already played 7, 8, maybe 9 games so far. But here's the thing about Boston's dominance, since they are have an 8-1 record in the month of January since the new year began. The main reason, or at least one of them, for their great dominance is Brad Marchand's and David Pasternak's scoring ability. And it's crazy because since the new year began, Marchand has scored 9 goals and Pasternak has scored 8 goals. Absolute complete dominance. Now, how long are they going to keep this up, and how long can they keep Boston dominating, especially for the rest of January? Now, also, with these 6 teams, have they only lose once? Which one of these teams are going to finish January with the best month and have the best record? Now, speaking of record, the Baylor Bears' perfect record, originally at 15-0, their perfect record has been officially diminished as they are now 15-2, as they have lost back-to-back games. And it's crazy because they lost to unranked teams as well, to Texas Tech and Oklahoma State by just under 10 digits. They lost by 7 against Oklahoma State, and they lost by 5 against Texas Tech. But here's the thing, they through these 2 games, they went through a huge slump, and hopefully they can get back into the rhythm, because they are going through a huge slump in shooting the ball and being able to score the ball, and also along with defense, their defensiveness, because they're over the past 2 years they've been known for their defense and the way they're able to take the ball away and even block the ball. That has not been the case over the last 2 games, and them being the number 1 team. Now they're 15-2. So after this week, they are, I don't know, there's a huge chance, because it is 2 unranked losses, that the number 1 Baylor Bears team might have a huge chance at falling out of the top 10. But there's some positive news, but it ain't for the Baylor Bears. It's actually for the Oregon Ducks. Right now, they are 12-6, and they have probably the most surprising out of all sports right now, the most surprising dominant start to the new year, because right now they have won 5 games in a row, counting just 1 game from last year. They are normally scoring about 72, 73 points a game, but ever since 2022 began, they have been scoring 80 plus points a game. And the craziest part is the last 2 games they beat 2 top 5 teams while being unranked. Number 3 UCLA 84-81, and then they beat number 5 USC. Like, what the heck? They beat them 79-69, and Will Richardson has led the way, scoring 18 points a game and having a dominating game, scoring 28 to help have a strong 10-point victory over USC. Now, Oregon is definitely going to get back into the rankings, but it also might be 50-50 because they do have 6 losses, but they did just beat 2 top 5 teams, so that is going to be very, very controversial on putting the Oregon Ducks into the top 25, while also being very controversial at putting Baylor outside the top 10. Which one is more controversial? Because it could go either way for either of these teams. Like, should they stay where they're at, or should they fall or go up ahead? Who knows? Now, speaking of dominance as well, MVPs are all over the place in the NBA, and the 3 most dominating players right now are Giannis, LeBron, and Joel Embiid. These guys, especially over the last 10 games, have been nothing short of spectacular. All 3 of these guys are in the top 5 of scoring. Joel Embiid with 27, and Giannis and LeBron both with 28. But the craziest part about this is that each and every single one of them have been on an absolute tear through the last 10 games, and these are also my top 3 MVP. I'll give my top 3 in order after I tell you guys what they've done so far. two of them have had 40-point games, 43 to be exact. Bron and Giannis, and each one of them has scored 32 plus points a game. To be exact, 31.8 for Joel Embiid, 32.3 for Giannis, and 33.4 for LeBron. And the most impressive out of all these three is LeBron. This dude is in year 19 dragging yet another team to victories of a bunch right now of what looks like a bunch of washed up veterans except for LeBron. You got Anthony Davis, who is injury prone. You got Russell Westbrook, who's been on a horrible ice cold streak over the last 4 to 5 games. But with LeBron, he's got 10 rebounds a game, along with 7 assists, along with a block and a half and a steal and a half over the last 10 games. Joel Embiid, 11 rebounds and a block and a steal, along with 6 assists over the last 10 games. Giannis, 32 points, 12 rebounds, 4 assists, and just over a block and a half per game. These guys are just tearing the league apart, and especially for LeBron, because he's not getting the respect he needs or should have right now, and it's crazy how much disrespect that LeBron gets. He could be having the craziest season ever and not be in the MVP discussion, and that just shows you how dominant LeBron is. He's been so dominating that we actually try to push him out of the conversation to look for somebody else. And what he's done this year so far, scoring 29 points a game and 34 over the last 10, just shows you my point exactly. And my order for these three, it goes LeBron, Giannis, and Embiid. And those are my order on how I go with winning the MVP. And LeBron is definitely number 1. Now, last but not least, we have finally got some baseball news, and just recently, the MLB and MLBPA just had a bargaining on Monday, on Thursday. So I'm hoping they can really fix this lockout, because I'm pretty sure millions of baseball fans want another season to happen and just keep this going. So I'm hoping that they can figure it out. But other than that, 2 players just retired. Melky Cabrera played for 8 different teams over a 13-14 year career. He got 1,962 hits, 854 RBIs, and 892 runs. And he's also a 2009 New York Yankee champion, and just announced his retirement yesterday. And a couple days ago, John Lester announces his retirement. He's a 3-time World Series champion. He's a 200-win pitcher, along with having a 3.6 ERA and a 5-time All-Star. Both of these guys are worthy of the Hall of Fame. Now we just gotta wait for them to get the honor of getting into the Hall of Fame. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to me on the Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any social media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever. And I'm out.